My next guest is one of the most popular drivers on the NASCAR circuit and the winner of 7 Winston Cup races. Please welcome the bad boy of NASCAR, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Wow, ladies, settle down. I don't know how you get used to it. Took me a long time to get used to that kind of adulation, or it will when it happens for me. Anyway, it's great having you here.
Yeah, it's good to be
I have so many questions for you because what you do is so different from what I do, and I just have a hard time imagining, you know, we both live on the edge. Yeah. You should see what this baby does when I get it fired up. I'm just curious, though, and I've always wondered this. After a race, it must be really hard for you to get into your, you know, Neon or your Dodge Prius or whatever. I don't even know if those are cars. And, but get into it and just drive the speed limit and go to the video store to get a Barney tape or something, you know? Like, yeah. How do you do that?
It's kind of tough. I mean, you know, I'm really normally not in a hurry. I'm really not in a hurry to get anywhere, but especially on the highway. I had 4 speeding tickets before I was 18, so that slowed me down real fast.
Right.
But sometimes, you know, when you're racing all day long on the racetrack, you're trying to pass people and you're running into each other and you're trying to race each other. You're all enemies, you know.
Right,
and then when you get on the highway, it's hard to remember that those people are just trying to get to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And you're like, come on, get out of the way. Come on, you need to move over here, you know.
Right. You're like nudging an old lady off the side of the road. Get out of the way. Oh, hey, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. You know? You know, I have true story. Swear to God, I met your dad. This is about, I think this would be about 8 years ago, and crazy circumstances. I was in Indianapolis, and I was there doing some business, and I had a crew of people with me, and we were driving around in a minivan that we had rented at the airport, and we went by the Speedway, and we were just walking around, and we ran into your dad and got to meet him, and he knew me from television, and he said, how would you like to get out on the Speedway, and I'll give you a driving lesson. And I said, I can't believe, that would be amazing. And this is the funny part. He said, well, let's take your car. And we had a rented minivan, so I swear to, with like the sliding door and like big cup holders and a baby seat, and I got in the front and he got in the passenger side, and we got out onto the Speedway, and we started going, and I'm just an incredible wimp, so I was going like 55. There's no other cars on the Speedway, and I'm using my blinker to go left or go right. And your dad was just like, what the hell is your problem? And he was leaning over, and he was pushing my foot down on the accelerator, and he was saying, you gotta accelerate into the curve, and I was just saying things like, well, we don't want to tip, you know, we ought to be careful here, and I was fiddling with the radio, and he was I was wondering, did he ever, I mean, I was thinking, I got a driving lesson, it was pretty intimidating. Did he ever try and give you a driving lesson?
Yeah, I got a couple driver's lessons from him. One, when I got my permit when I was 15, I was riding around with my stepmother, and I dropped a wheel off the road, no big deal, you know, you just kind of keep going. You're 15, you're driving a car for the first time, you're going to roll off the road once or twice.
Sure.
And I didn't think it was a big deal, and he found out about it, and he was like, well, that's huge, you know. What are you doing? You know, get in the truck. So we go down the road, and he's like, this is how you do it. You know, if you run off the road, you don't jerk it back on the road, and the car goes out of control, and he almost loses it. And he's like, see what happens?
He actually did it to show you what it was like to be out of control?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you know, don't do that. That's good. I understand. You know, then he does it he's like, come back on real easy. Take the car back on the road real easy. That's much better. And I'm like, man, that's enough. I got enough lessons. And then he's all upset because he's like, why you don't trust me? You know, he's all upset. So it was funny. I've got a couple driver's lessons from him, but none in racing, though. But had to be a good observer there.
Right. But I would just think it'd be very intimidating to have him there.
It was.
I mean, his name was the Intimidator.
Yeah, he scared the hell out of me.
Yeah,
I mean, I was like, whoa, I got the picture.
Also, most people tell you about a dangerous move. They don't then do it.
Oh, yeah, that was
You don't want to do this.
See, that was it. We were sitting there going down the road, and he was talking about it, and I'm thinking, surely he's not going to do it.
Yeah, and then he does it. Now, I don't know if this is true. I heard that you've kept a volleyball in the pit for good luck. Is that true?
Yeah, we did some last year. I'm a big fan of Tom Hanks. He had the movie Castaway where he had his buddy was a volleyball. You know, that was the only friend he had to talk to, right?
Right. He painted a little face on it, and it kept him from going crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some racetracks, particularly one named Darlington that I race on that'll drive you insane sometimes. And I told my guys that maybe I should, I'd do better if I had a volleyball in the car. And, you know, I was just joking. And the next week, we were leading a race at Dover, about 10 laps to go. And I was like, man, the caution come out. I was like, man, I need some luck, you know, 10 to go. The field's right behind me. What am I going to do? They said, well, you know, you can rub on Wilson for some good luck. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, he's in the, look over to your right, and he was strapped in the car the whole time.
Little volleyball?
Yeah. And I mean, I'd run 490 miles of a 500-mile race and never saw him. And I mean, he's sitting right there.
Sure, yeah.
So, yeah, that was
that's so weird. And then you start talking to him.
Yeah.
I would just don't know what, you know, they put those little cameras inside the car, what other people would think if they could see you talking to the volleyball. I want to know some racing lingo because I want to be cool. And come on, it might help. People are laughing at me even trying. I've got a Ford Taurus SHO. It's 92. That thing is sweet. That ride is cherry. It is. It's a sweet ride. And I want to know some lingo for it. Rubbing is racing. What does that mean, rubbing is racing? I've heard it, but I don't know what it means.
Yeah, everybody's heard it. It's kind of like a crummy slogan you'd find on a T-shirt somewhere. But...
And I want it.
But it means, like, if you run into somebody or get run into, you don't get pissed off. It's just kind of like, you know, that's just part of it.
That's part of the
game.
game.
You don't take it personally.
Right.
We're out there. We got fenders and bumpers on our cars, and that's what you know, they're going to be used from time to time. Hopefully not intentionally, but.
So next time I like smash into someone else's car, I should just get out and go Rubbin's racing.
Yeah.
And then while he's hitting me, and when the car is loose, what does that mean? When racers say the car's loose, what does that mean?
When we talk about how the car handles, we talk about it being loose or tight.
Right.
And loose is when the back end won't stick and it tries to spin out, like if you were on ice or something.
Right.
And tight is when the front end doesn't stick. So you say, you know, well, I'm a little bit loose getting in or a little bit tight coming off, and they can make adjustments for that. You know, when you hear...
These are phrases I wouldn't use parking in the supermarket, probably.
Exactly.
My front's a little loose. I want to mention this because it's what you're here to talk about. All-Star Tribute Concert to Dale Sr. Who's playing at this concert?
Yeah, it's a concert we're having coming up in a couple weeks. Brooks and Dunn, Sheryl Crow's going to be there, the Goo Goo Dolls, Alabama. A couple more acts. We're real excited. Hootie and the Blowfish is going to be there, so it's going to be a big deal.
This sounds great. Dale's going to be appearing at the Dale Earnhardt Tribute Concert on June 28th. At Daytona International Speedway, where I set a pretty mean track record. Let me tell you something in my minivan. Tickets are still available, so go and support that show. Hey, you know what? It was just great meeting you and having you on the show. Please come back. Dale Earnhardt Jr., everybody. We'll be right back with OAR. Stick around. All right, everybody, we're back. My next guests began performing together 5 years ago at Ohio State University. Tonight, they are making their network television debut with a song from their brand new album, In Between Now and Then. Please welcome OAR. Yeah, that was great. That was excellent. Thank you. Hey, no, Conan. What the hell? Hey. OAR, everybody, we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
After 10 years on NBC, what does Conan O'Brien have to show for it?
How about a 10th anniversary special in prime time from New York's Beacon Theater? It's Conan's 10th, NBC Sunday, 9:30, 8:30 Central.
I'm barely in it. I swear.
Live coverage.
That's our show. Do want to thank all my guests. Dale Earnhardt Jr., pleasure to meet you. Hope we see you again. Come on back. Continued success to you. Big thanks to Kate Hudson for stopping by. Big thanks to OAR. They're very nice guys. And, of course, Jimmy Vivino and the Max Weinberg 7. Stay tuned for Last Call with Carson Daly. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.